Okay, let's look at this question. A manufacturer can lease a machine for 5 years at $790 per month, payable at the beginning of each month. Alternatively, they can purchase the machine for $42,000 and sell it for $5,000 in 5 years. The cost of capital or the interest rate is 8.3% compounded annually. All right, or that is what is desired. Now, what is the present value of the cost of the lease option? Let's do that one first. So we have to start with the payments are at the beginning of each month. So let's put the calculator into the begin mode, second PMT, and second enter. Now it's begin, the display is in the top right corner. So let's quit that option and start our input. So the payments are at the beginning of each month. So second IY, PY will be 12, and we enter that number. Now the compounding, which is the interest, is done annually, so that is 1, and we can go and check that PY is 12 and CY is 1. Now this will take place for 5 years, right? The payments are for 5 years, so 5, second, N, and N turns out to be 60. Interest rate is 8.3%, so let us enter that, 8.3, and we enter it. All right, now the present value is what we would like to compute. The payment is $790 per month, so 790. We can make it negative because we are paying, and the future value we will put that in as 0. And we compute the present value, and that turns out to be 39221 because we are entering a positive value correct to the nearest dollar. So this rounded to the nearest dollar would be $39,221. Okay, next we should do the purchase option. All right, so it can be purchased for $42,000 and sold for $5,000 5 years from now. So that is a compound interest situation. So what we will do is compute the $5,000 that in 5 years, the present value of that amount. So what we will have to do now, remember it's a compound interest, so the CY and PY have to be the same. But in this case, the CY is 1, so we have to put in 1 for PY. And that will be the same for CY. Now, if you wish, we don't really have to get out of begin mode. I will demonstrate that to you. We will leave it in begin mode for now and do the computation and see what happens. All right. So we are looking at the $5,000 in 5 years. Remember, it's 5 years. So now second N has changed from 60. Now it is 5. The interest rate has not. That is indeed 8.3. We are computing the present value. There is no payment, correct? And the future value is $5,000 5 years from now. So we can put in $5,000 for the future value, and we compute the present value. All right, now that is the present value, $3,356 rounded to the nearest dollar. So that would be the present value. Now this 42,000 was actually an output or an outlay of 42,000. So this present value of $3,356 is actually an income or an input. Okay, so this is negative. What we can do to make it simple to do is just add 42,000. Okay, and that should give us the answer of $38,644. That's rounded to the nearest dollar because it's $38,643.95. All right, okay, now I did mention to you that this present value, let's recall it, 3356 will be the same whether we were in begin mode or not. Why? Because the payment is zero. If you recall the payment, it is zero. So let's get out of begin mode. We will go second PMT, second enter. Begin disappears, end shows up, but it will not display. And let's go and compute the present value, and it is indeed 3356. Now, to complete the calculation, it is negative, and let's add the 42,000, which we had previously. That would be the purchase. So 38,644 is indeed correct. So now the choice is, should the manufacturer purchase or lease? Purchase, since the lease present value is lower than the purchase present value. Well, that is not true. If the lease is lower, you will not purchase. Okay, lease, since the purchase present value is lower than the lease present value. Now, if the purchase present value is lower than the lease present value, why would you lease? You will purchase. This is what you should do. Purchase, since the purchase present value is higher. No, sorry, that is not correct either, because the purchase present value is higher. You would lease, since the lease present value is lower than the purchase present value. That is not correct. Purchase, since the purchase present value is lower than the lease value. That is the correct choice. That is why you would purchase, because the purchase present value is lower than the lease present value. Okay, this is the purchase option here. This number is lower than this number here, which is the lease option. Okay, so that is why the purchase should be made since the purchase present value is lower than the lease present value. The last choice is to lease, since the lease present value is higher than the purchase present value. Well, that would not be a good business decision, right? So we'll purchase, the company should purchase, since the purchase present value is lower than the lease present value. Let's submit, and it is correct. And we have 3 out of 3 up here. Okay, and we have the green box with the check mark.